Time to check on the Summit League Players of the Week, starting with women's soccer. And on offense, it is Kinnerath from North Dakota State. The sophomore had 5 points for the Bison over the week. She's the only player in the league with at least 5 goals and 5 assists on the year. On defense, Danny Patterson from South Dakota State led the Jacks defense to a pair of league shutouts against Kansas City and South Dakota. Men's soccer, IUPUI gets them both. Ryan Robinson on offense, he had 2 goals in that win over Western Illinois. And Eduardo Cortez, the freshman, 4th time he's been honored this season. He had 9 saves in that win over Western Illinois. And on volleyball, Offensive Player of the Week, Kendall Crittenbrink from South Dakota. 2nd time this season that she's been honored. She had 45 kills, 20 against Oakland and 25 against Fort Wayne. And on defense, Emma Hagedorn of Kansas City, a freshman, had 13 blocks over the weekend, 4 against Fort Wayne and 9 against Oakland. Well, IPFW is Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne, but just call it Fort Wayne. Why do 14,000 students go there? Here are a few reasons in this week's Campus Spotlight.
Welcome back to IPFW, the home of the Mastodons. If you've ever watched IPFW sports or walked around campus, you've probably seen statues, artwork, and replicas of Mastodons all around, much like this logo or even this little guy. Then there's this Mastodon skeleton right here on campus. But you know the history behind the Mastodon? It actually relates back to these very remains in 1968.
A very nice skeleton of a sort of teenage mastodon was found near Angola about the time the campus was being built, and Dr. Jack Sunderman, formerly of this department, now deceased, collected that specimen, and it is now on display in Kettler Hall.
Then just 2 years later, when IPFW was in the process of choosing its school mascot, members of the Geology Club lobbied for the Mastodon, and the rest is history. One man who was around campus at that time was chemistry professor Art Friedel.
The student body president at that time thought we should be Mastodons, and they started some cheers about it. But there were other students on campus who didn't like the idea of being Mastodons, and so they decided to have a vote through the student newspaper, and when the results came out, Mastodons hadn't won. But they decided that the vote was flawed. A group of students could have, stuffed the ballot box with some stupid name, and so they decided they were going to take over. It was really student government that decided.
Now we have Don, Tusky, and all the other Mastodon representatives that are common today.
As we got into the 70s, there became all that conflict with Redskins, and people got upset with certain kinds of mascots, and universities were changing their mascots, so we didn't have to worry because we had a mascot that was dead for years.
As for the department that got it all started, the paleontology group is still hard at work uncovering and documenting facts about not just mastodons, but dinosaurs as well.
This is a typical well-preserved 3-toed footprint from the Paluxy River bed at Glen Rose, Texas, in what is now Dinosaur Valley State Park. For us, it's always quite exciting. We did uncover, again with some students, a fairly extensive set of tracks that had not been seen before, and that was quite exciting. It isn't so much the finding that we're doing, it's the documenting it and publishing it and making that information available to the scientific community that is the main thing we're involved with.
I hope you learned a little bit more about this big fella and the history of the Mastodons at IPFW, where you can feel the rumble. For Inside the Summit League, I'm Pat Teedy.
Thanks to everybody in Fort Wayne. Thanks to all of our member schools for all their help. Oakland will host the Summit League Cross Country Championships this weekend, and we will run down the results next week. We'll see you next week on Inside the Summit League.